Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Over Mania. My name is Christina and I will be your host today. Today I'm going to be recording another Pick a Group reading. This is in honor of Suicide Awareness Month, and the topic today is going to be how can you love yourself? Suicide awareness is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, as I have no doubt explained numerous times on this show, but once again, it's that time of the year. And unfortunately, a lot of people around this time, unfortunately, are taking their own lives. So this reading is going to be in honor of all those people that have either lost their lives, or if you're currently struggling right now. This reading is not intended for suicidal people necessarily. However, it's to help everybody learn just to love themselves a little bit more, and just get some guidance from Spirit in case you are struggling to figure out how to love yourself. It's very common in the modern era to be saying, well, just love yourself, but a lot of people don't actually know what that means, so I like to shed some light on that conversation. Since we have last talked, unfortunately my cat Shenley has passed away, and I've been, focusing on the grieving pattern and healing myself. I currently have Luna in another location, and she's going to be also put up for adoption. I'm going through my own thing right now, so I'd ask for some privacy during this time as I grieve. And, I feel like you guys will be grieving me too, as Shenley was frequently a guest on my show. So in honor of Shenley, I decided that for today's Pick a Group reading, I'm going to have cat toys as ways of picking your group. So starting with group 1, we have the banana. Group 2, we have the sushi. Group 3, we have the mouse. Group 4, we have the snowman. And group 5, we have the ball. So before selecting your group, please take a moment to focus on your energy, see which resonates with you. If none of them resonate with you, then maybe this isn't the reading for you, but at the beginning of each reading, I'm going to high level summarize what potentially your issue may be, and if it doesn't resonate, then find another group that would better suit you. And yeah, so anyways, love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and I will see you in the groups. See ya. Hello everybody, you have chosen group 1, the banana, and this is going to be your reading. So I'm going to take a moment to tap into your energy, group 1, and I'm going to see what in general do you need to work on, or what's causing you to not love yourself right now. So group 1, I'm feeling yours has a lot to do with heartbreak or heartache of some kind, whether it be a family issue, a relationship issue, a partner issue. It's kind of all over the place, and it feels very, I don't know, the feeling's not very strong per se, so I feel like probably when the cards start coming up, the emotions will be flowing, but it's definitely more to do with like your heart space and not being able to connect with others, or you're having a hard time understanding what love means. And maybe you don't even know what love means at all. Who knows? But I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards to kind of get some more information about the situation. And then I'm going to go into what you can actually do to heal yourself and to, love yourself more through the situation you're going through. I don't know why, but while I started shuffling, I'm hearing a song like, "Don't Go Breaking My Heart. I don't know where it starts." Or, I don't know if those are even the right words, but you know what I mean. We all know the song. I feel like you're the kind of person that you don't want other people to hurt you, or that you're kind of neglecting yourself and blaming others for it, or you're blaming the lack of relationships or support in your life. I don't know, it's kind of scattered, but I feel like that's part of what's going on, but it's partly something else too. But yeah, you definitely are actively trying to figure out how to not let others hurt you. Is it? Alright. Alright, yeah. So, right off the bat, I'm kind of noticing, for these cards right here, you got the Ten of Wands and the Three of Wands. And I notice in both of these, they have fairy children. And so, I don't know what, I feel like one of the things that is part of the reason why you're having a hard time loving yourself is definitely some issues in childhood. Now, we've got a boy and a girl here. So I feel like this is universal, whether you're, regardless of what your gender is. But it's almost like, I feel like you were like the kid that always felt like they were playing by themselves. You were lost. You were someone who either you didn't know how to fit in, but you always, I'm getting, again, this feeling of wandering and lost. And that could be your current state right now, or a pattern that you're replaying from childhood. But definitely there's some kind of childhood trauma that's causing you to have a distinct, distorted view of yourself, or you're always abandoning yourself. That is one thing that, like, for example, I'm seeing right now with this girl who, she's looking sad with all these wands, and there's like the pail. It's almost like, I feel like she could be watering herself, but she chooses not to because she's feeling too depressed. And it's almost like she's feeling she's undeserving, or she's not getting enough rest. Like, I definitely get the vibe from this group that one of the things that you do to yourself is you just don't take care of yourself when you're feeling unworthy and feeling unloved, which is pretty common. But for this particular group, though, love is such a painful thing that whenever you try to show that love to yourself, it's almost like you abandon yourself. And it's because you're kind of used to other people abandoning you. So it wouldn't surprise me if you're the type of person that actively chases people who abandon you. Or, for example, I've got the Lovers right here, and I feel like you're the one that you idealize love and romance, and you're always looking for a fantasy relationship that you put on a pedestal that isn't realistic. Or it could be realistic, but because you put it on a pedestal, you don't realize that the people you're putting on that pedestal are not the people for you. And so what you're doing is you're choosing emotionally unavailable partners on purpose so that way you don't ever actually have to get challenged by your heart's issues, and so you don't have to face yourself and what you're going through. Now you've got the Ace of Cups here, and so what's interesting is you as a person, group one, this group is definitely full of a lot of love, and a lot of love for other people. And so I feel like there's you have a place, but you're actively choosing not to go to that place, if that makes sense. It's almost as though, your family has a space carved out for you, or you have a set of responsibilities, or there's people that are trying to get to know you, and you're actively shutting those people out because you don't know how to distinguish a person that's due to this childhood abandonment wound. It's almost like you're more likely to abandon something that's good for you and actively choose a person that's bad for you, so then you can go and reenact this, well, that person left me, or that person didn't treat me well. And we've got the Empress here, so I'm definitely feeling a distorted feminine energy. So maybe one of your issues is maybe you learned victimhood from your mother, or you have mother figures that weren't necessarily in the most healthy of places, or didn't show you love in healthy ways. Again, this is regardless of gender. I feel like if you're the man watching this and you had an unhealthy woman figure, I feel like you get abused by women a lot, or you're someone who you choose women who don't treat your emotions well, or it's the opposite, they're over emotional and you don't know how to manage that, so you shut down. And if you're in the women, or you're a woman and you didn't have an emotionally available emotionally unavailable mother, you choose male partners that don't respect feminine energy. And you, kind of the reverse, you choose male partners that shut down to feminine emotions, or you're either too much, too little, and you're constantly taking care of others. Now what's interesting here is you got the Tower in reverse. So I feel like you're kind of in a position right now, group one, where you're rebuilding something. Maybe you went through some hard times, some heartaches. Maybe you're rebuilding from a past childhood trauma that maybe you're finally out of a certain place. Some of you are, some of you aren't. This is a general reading, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint. But right here, I feel like you're still stuck in this fetal position right here. So we've got the Fool, where this child is kind of all caught in a ball. And I feel like that's where you are right now, is where you are in a position where you can't sustain your current situation. Like, shut down a lot, or you're just somebody that, when you try to love yourself, it's overwhelming. So you kind of are focusing on the small little things that you can handle, which is good in terms of loving yourself. But I feel like there's a childhood innocence that you're neglecting. Like we're seeing, I have this white rabbit sitting in a crown, but it's in reverse. And what this is feeling is like I'm feeling like there's a resistance to innocence, a resistance to softness towards yourself, and especially towards others too. I feel like when you're in pain or you're in charge, you have a tendency to neglect others' feelings, and you don't always acknowledge whenever you've hurt somebody else. And that's because of this resistance to softness, because you feel like, well, if I can't have softness for myself and other people can't treat me that way, then I'll treat them how they've been treating me. And that's not a good way to go about things. Because notice, later on in the reading, you've got this princess here holding a rabbit, and having that tenderness. And that's something you got to remember that you deserve too. Everybody deserves to have this moment, And, rabbits, when you think about them, they're very easily startled creatures. They, don't live for long lives, but, they are very cuddly and friendly, just like any other animal. And, you should be treating yourself just like this bunny rabbit, because at times, especially if you didn't have this mother figure, you're going to have to be teaching yourself that you're worthy of coddling yourself and treating yourself right. And you can't be relying always on a romantic partner, a friend, a caretaker to be providing that for you. Those are skills you have to teach yourself, unfortunately. Or you could get a therapist to teach you, or a mother-like figure to help you with that. But identifying this wound, I think, is important for you, so that way you can start to address it and understand that tenderness is required in order for you to start loving yourself. Like, again, think of yourself holding a rabbit. Like, you are that bunny rabbit, And especially this inner child that, regardless of what you went through in childhood, that child needs to be protected and deserves love. And that has to come from you first, before you can let other people in. And other people can help you. Other people can help you see it, but ultimately you got to make that choice to view that bunny rabbit as, sacred and soft and worth protecting, because your softness is important and no one else owns that softness but you. And right now, if you're in a position where you're afraid of other people hurting you and you don't want to show that softness to other people, that is completely and absolutely okay. All right? You don't owe anybody else your vulnerability. You don't owe anybody else that. However, the purpose of this reading is to help you with loving yourself and being able to understand that it's your responsibility to protect that bunny rabbit. And that bunny rabbit is there to help you, because you're not supposed to always be walls up and guarded all the time. You're not always supposed to be happy. You're not always supposed to... Sometimes you are just this defenseless little bunny rabbit. All right? Everybody, no matter if you were the largest, strongest man in the world or whatever, you still have moments of vulnerability. That's just life. And acknowledging that, you're the one that is responsible for doing this, not a woman, not, someone else. You have to be doing this to yourself too. And if you need support, that's fine, but making sure that you're putting that into your routine or acknowledging those feelings when they come up, that's important. And that'll take a long time, but at least I'm acknowledging these things so at least you have a place to start with working on yourself. So now going into these other cards, we've got obstacles, support, play hard, and protected. And what I feel like something that you're not acknowledging is you're more protected than I think you realize. I think what happened was, with whatever this childhood wound was, you weren't protected when you were a child, and so what's happening right now is you're replaying those same energies and wounds of always being on edge or on guard with people, and it's causing you to push away people that actually can help you. And you're choosing people that will hurt you because you're just choosing what's familiar to you, which, not gonna lie, 9 out of 10 times you guys aren't picking the right people. And it's on purpose too, because if you met somebody that would love you in the way that you want to, you're afraid that they're gonna shut you out, they're gonna hate you, and then it's gonna start the cycle. And it's worse to choose someone who will treat you right. It's worse to choose someone who will treat you right and then lose them than continue to choose bad behavior, right? And that's exactly where you have to support yourself through this, so that way you can be able to sustain and have the ability to be open to those relationships. Because not every relationship is meant to last. And if you screw up a few times, fine. However, you got to keep putting yourself out there in order to make a support system for you and to allow this inner child to understand that it's worthy of love too. And these obstacles are imaginary, all right? You're imagining a lot of scenarios, or you're imagining an idealized world where a person's going to love you no matter what wrong you do, and that's also incorrect. Like, again, when it comes to parenting a child, if your child is running through the mall destroying things and screaming and yelling, we all know as a society, that's poor behavior, right? And if you're behaving that way towards another human being, whether it's a lover or a coworker or whatever, they have no right to treat you with unconditional love, right? So that's where there's a balance here. And so you got to be realistic and being like, okay, well, I'm not going to let my kid, aka inner me, go and have a tantrum every time I'm hurt. However, at the same time, I'm also deserving of tenderness whenever my feelings are hurt. And so working either with a therapist or working with that inner child to kind of get it to be in a position where you can start listening to its true feelings will really help you out with loving yourself. I realize I kind of blended together the advice and the what's going on with your situation, but I'm going to pull some final cards for you, group 1, just so that way you can get a little more advice on what can you do to actually love yourself. Just get some final thoughts from Spirit. Alright, so I'm just going to pull 3 cards here. Alright, so you've got the Fool, you've got Judgment, and you've got Death, all upright. Alright, and so what I'm feeling is, right now, group 1, you've got a lot on your plate, and there's a lot of inner child healing work to do. So I think the first place to start is find what you're passionate about. So when I'm seeing with this one right here with the transformation, Judgment, again, I'm feeling you're going to be transforming a lot, as almost like you're growing those younger versions of yourself that are hurt into adults, or adult versions of that child piece. And as you transform and grow into a healthier version of yourself, get passionate about life again. I'm seeing this right here, and I keep thinking of piano. So maybe your passion is music, or maybe you connect to yourself through music. Find things that are really helping you connect with other people or connect with your heart space in a positive way, so that way you can start rebuilding that relationship with love again. I feel like love for you is a complicated issue, and even the term love is very subjective, because oftentimes people either say it as black and white, where it's either you're a romantic partner or you're just whatever. And unfortunately, love is a very narrow, limited word for a lot of the feelings that come with it, right? And so I think acknowledging for yourself, like, what does love mean? What do these songs mean? Like, what actually causes me to feel these things? One of your issues, group 1, I feel, is you struggle to feel that love for yourself because you're struggling to feel in general. Some of you, it's more true than others, but I think with loving yourself, make yourself maybe a playlist, or maybe write yourself a love poem, or do something romantic towards yourself and see how that feels. It may sound weird to do so, but especially if you're in a position where you've never had a partner that treated you right, or maybe you just don't know what that feels like, or treat yourself how you want another partner to treat you. Maybe you've never thought of that. You kind of just expected a person to show up and just do something that would make you feel good. Well, identify it. Do it for yourself once or twice and see how that actually feels, because until you know what you want and how love shows and comes out for you, then you're not going to be able to look and find a partner that's going to do that for you. And plus also that may help you with connecting to your inner child as well. Go back to those old memories. Maybe find a place that you were nostalgic for childhood, like at the park, or, maybe you like to doodle or go play baseball or something. I don't know. But maybe try doing some of those activities. Yeah, I'm feeling also stickers. Maybe you liked Lisa Frank. I don't know, when I'm seeing this unicorn, that's what I'm feeling for some reason. But yeah, just get creative. understand that you're on a new journey and a new path. I feel like a couple of you, or maybe more than a couple of you, are in the process of starting a new life or changing. I mean, all of these cards have stuff to do with like change, because we've got death here. Death meaning that maybe, you're healing from grief. I feel like it's kind of the death of an old version of you, and you're kind of birthing into a new thing. You're being summoned to a higher calling, or finding a greater purpose in life. But part of that, finding that purpose, is going within and eliminating some of these old patterns and old ideas, and that essentially is a form of death, and you're allowed to grieve, your childhood. You're allowed to grieve the parts of you that no longer serve you, because at the end of the day, in order to survive, we take on lots of burdens, poor behaviors, or different things to make sure that our needs are met at the time, but no longer suit us as adults. And so part of what this healing going on here is saying is that, you're on a new journey, and you may not necessarily know where you're going. You don't always know what's going to work, but at the end of the day, you got to let go of some of the stuff from the past, and that will keep continuing to drive you with more momentum forward and forward. And things will get easier. Like think about when you were a kid, when you were first learning to walk. Learning to walk seemed like the hardest thing ever. And guess what? Now you're an adult, walking is easy. And so I'm sure there's plenty of things as a kid that you thought were very difficult, and now as an adult, they're easy. And that's going to be the same way with emotional healing. And it's just one day at a time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this reading. If you're interested in purchasing a reading, please go onto my Fiverr account. There will be a link in the description. If you would like to donate a tip, which does not imply receiving services, you can also do that as well. I'll have a link in the description. That's just for supporting me or thinking I'm cool. And yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about these sorts of topics with you if you guys are struggling. So anyways, thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello there, group 2. You have chosen the sushi, and this is going to be your reading. So how this reading is going to start off is I'm going to first kind of describe high level what I'm feeling is going on with your energy and what's kind of causing you to not love yourself. And then we're going to go into some solutions to help bring out what's going on and bring love to yourself. So right off the bat, I don't know why, but I'm definitely feeling group 2. You guys are the ones that deal with depression. I feel like, your mind has a lot of brain fog. I'm feeling very slow moving. Maybe you have a physical disability where you can't walk, or you're just having a hard time getting around. I'm feeling very disoriented, lost. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards to get some more clarification on what's going on with you guys, group 2. Whew. Alright, yeah, I just feel like you guys are very overwhelmed, burdened. Again, that depression, it's almost making it hard to read your cards and your energy, because it's just that depression's just so heavy and thick. I'm definitely seeing a lot of these blue colors here. I'm seeing blue and pink and yellow. You guys are just going through a lot. And so the first 2 cards, you got the Movement of Cups and the Seven of Swords, which that's basically the Knight of Cups. I feel like you guys are seeking externally for a romantic partner, and that's why you're kind of distracting yourself from this depression. I don't know if you feel like you're waiting for someone to save you, or you're waiting for your knight in shining armor and he just hasn't arrived yet. And you're kind of beating yourself up because you're feeling as though you don't want to be a part of this. Like, I don't know what that means. I think that's a specific phrasing towards some of you. But you just don't want to be a part of what's going on in society. You don't want to be a part of your family situation, the drama with this person or a romantic partner. Or there's just some kind of you just don't want to be a part of any of it. And you're kind of, I'm seeing like with this whale, you want to just float back on your back, and it's kind of like being dead in the water almost. Yeah, and maybe you are suicidal, I don't know, but there's definitely some like death type vibes. So you could also be grieving a person that's passed on as well, or grieving your life or current situation right now. The Seven of Swords, I'm feeling there was some deception in your life that was, or it's currently going on. there's definitely something current, at least, where either you're being deceived by another person, someone is stealing from you. It's either they're stealing your energy or time and they know what they're doing, or they're stealing resources from you. So this person is actively taking advantage of what's going on with you because you're depressed and don't see it. And this is something, or this kind of person, you need to protect yourself from, because it's either a person or people. I feel like for some of you, it's definitely you're choosing romantic partners. Specifically, they take advantage of you, and they say they want you to get better and that they love and support you, but they actually want you to stay depressed. That's why they're pushing away your family members that, mean well, and there's something about you're pushing away your true family. Now, maybe your biological family is not necessarily healthy, but there's something about this person is preventing you from they're getting in the way of you being around healthy people on purpose, because then they can't take advantage of you emotionally, physically, whatever your situation is. So please be very careful, group 2. Protect yourself, ask around, either talk to a therapist or a trusted companion to partner, to ask who this person may be. And be careful that you're not asking this deceptive person. They're going to deny it. However, some of you, I feel, after watching this reading, you're going to ask the person that is exactly the problem. And if that situation comes, I want you to pause before asking a person and see, do you actually feel like you trust this person? Ask your gut, yes or no. And if you start to question yourself, then maybe that's a sign not to. And if you're in a particularly unsafe situation or whatever, please go and get help from a professional. You can talk to me as well. However, I'm not going to be sitting here helping you if you're dealing with, an abusive relationship. That's something for a professional to deal with. Support you, but I can't get involved in stuff like that. But anyways, though, make sure that you are not deceiving yourself, too. This also, if those other descriptions of the situation don't fit you, this card could also imply, or most definitely implies, that you're deceiving yourself by creating illusions or gaslighting yourself into believing that something is better than what it seems, because you're refusing to look what's better on the other side. Again, and a lot of this has to do with mental illness, depression. It's too hard, it's easy to remain depressed instead of face what's going on around you or what happened in your past. And that's why you're actively deceiving yourself from seeing how bad things are going on right now. So I'm sending you guys a lot of love and hugs right now, pile 2, because this is very, you've got to have a lot of determination and dexterity to distinguish what is real and what's not real. And if you guys want, I can do a reading for helping in case you are used to being gaslit, helping determine what is your inner voice. If you have a desire for that reading, please comment down below. But yeah, the next card you got here is trust. So one thing, I think part of the reason why you're trusting in distrustful people is because you have trust issues with people in general. And you don't trust yourself, ultimately. You can't love yourself if you don't trust yourself. And one of the issues is it's because you either fell in the trap of deceitful people and you feel bad, or you don't feel like you make the best judgment calls, especially because you're so mentally ill or because you're so overwhelmed. And so what you're doing is, in order to help release and relieve the burden on you, you're putting too much power and control into the hands of people that do not have good intentions towards you. Whether this be an employer, again, a spouse, significant other, whatever. Definitely I'm feeling this trust issue. I feel like some of your trust issues come from family, where either a family member or there's a pattern in your family where you aren't able to trust your home or people in your home, and that kind of caused you to become distracted. I don't know why I keep channeling stuff, and it's like multiple different people are having different stories, but ultimately, like, whatever's going on is you're choosing these people to distract you from the home issue that's going on, or your relationships that are going on at home. And whatever happened with that trust issue, you're like, well, I don't trust family, or I don't trust this person, so I'm going to go over here and find a partner that's going to do it for me, or I'm going to find my friends who say they love me and whatever, but when push comes to shove and bad things happen, they don't do anything to support you, or they can't do anything to support you. And so then you get frustrated and you're like, oh, well, people suck, so I can't have friends, or I shouldn't, be with anybody, and then you hate yourself, and then you're like, well, I trusted in the wrong person, so now I'm bad. And it's like, no. You're creating this vicious cycle by not stepping out of the pattern and going, okay, I need to learn how to trust myself, and by that I'm going to choose better partners or make choices that are going to be in my corner. I'm not going to allow everybody into my life or everyone into my corner unless they've proven that they're trustworthy. I think should probably start there. I'm already getting into the healing, but definitely this trust situation is a huge issue on why you don't love yourself. Getting on to these other cards, so you've got the Page of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Nine of Swords, and the Five of Cups in reverse. Yeah, I keep feeling like distractions. Like you're using a lot of distractions in order to prevent yourself from loving yourself. Whether you're using work, you're using your inner demons. Like we're seeing like literally right here this night terror that's like causing this person to have bad sleep. Maybe you do have a hard time sleeping, or maybe you're somebody who you imagine scenarios of how all these things are going to go wrong. And you're constantly repeating these bad scenarios over and over and over again because you don't trust yourself, and so you're like, well, this happened, or this could happen, and this could happen, instead of just trusting that you're safe, And so you're screwing up the relationships that could go right, and then you're like, oh, well, I just proved the fact that I can't trust myself, so I'm going to go back to this person here, this raccoon, And that's exactly what the raccoon person wants, is because as long as you don't establish trust with yourself because of these things here, they're like, well, I'll support you. I'll hold you when you're crying. But guess what? Holding you when you're crying and not encouraging you to go to therapy or to work on yourself is not showing love and support. If you're not going to therapy right now, or you're not taking medication, or you're just I already heard a couple of you being like, well, medication doesn't work for me. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think it does. I think what's happening is you're just not allowing yourself to, one, choose the right therapist, choose the right methodology, or you're allowing these other people to remain in your life, and you're choosing to keep things in your life that are fundamentally what's causing these problems. I feel like these healing methodologies would work for you if you choose yourself to allow yourself to trust people and trust in the process and understand that not everyone has good intentions for you. And as long as these people are around, these people are always going to have open arms for you. They're always going to say, I'm going to be there for you. But the only reason they're there for you is because they can always come and take from you. And that's something that you need to hear, because you need to protect yourself. Because once these people don't have a grip on you, I'm going to tell you right now, your life is going to change fundamentally. And you're going to be a lot less depressed, because they're fundamentally taking your energy away from you. Because there's people out there that you can trust and are safe. And right now, this demonizing of yourself, as long as you're doing that and saying you're not worthy, or you're continuing to feed into your own depression, that's how all these other energies get in. And you're never going to break out. It doesn't matter if you had a therapist, the best therapist in the world, that's not going to happen until you claim, take ownership of your victimhood and start standing up for yourself. And maybe, feel like a bunch of you're not strong enough to stand up to this raccoon person yet, but I think acknowledging that this is going on, and acknowledging that, you do have a certain magic on the inside of you that no one else has but you. And I can almost feel a couple of you scoff, like, oh, I don't have magic inside me. What are you talking about? That's just your hokey, optimistic shit. And I'm like, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. And another problem with this, too, is, guess what? You're a human being, not a demon. You are not a monster. You are a human being and a human person. And regardless of how terrible humans can be, there's also a lot of good things that humans can be. And you are ultimately the one that are going to decide what that story is going to look like. And there's a lot of light inside of you. And you're just choosing to focus on the darkness because it's easier. And you're going to be like, it's not easier, it hurts. It's like, well, of course it hurts. But I'm going to tell you that it's a lot harder to face the light and face the fact that you've been hurting yourself this whole time while that light is there, rather than just sitting in this demon position. And I'm not undermining what you're going through, but what I'm saying is it comes down to the same reality at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you have to make a choice. Are you going to choose life, or are you going to choose death? And ultimately, as long as you're choosing life every single day, you're going to be all right. Okay? And, you need to stop letting other people determining your value and your worth because, I know it's really hard, especially if maybe you grew up in an unhealthy home. Again, you have a clinical depression, whatever, blah, 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 blah. My life's so hard. I understand that. And it's okay that those things are hard, and it's okay that you hate yourself right now. I'm not saying that after this reading you're going to have to, like, suddenly turn around and be like, oh, love and rainbows and whatever. It's like, no. But, I mean, I think a good place to start would be honestly just pause, take a breath, and smell the roses and focus on just taking things one step at a time and allowing stuff to fall apart for a little bit. Like, allow these people and negativity to fall away. Because you're going to realize that after you stop putting energy towards people that give nothing back to you, you're going to be like, they were never there in the first place for you. They said all those things, and they showed up for you because they knew that they could get things out of you. And the moment that you no longer became helpful to them, nope, they're gone. But they're always going to have open arms for you because they know that you're a sucker. And it's because you're a person that loves very much, and you're someone who was an innocent person. I feel like this group has a lot of innocence and maybe growing to do. I don't know if maybe you struggle with a mental illness, a disability, maybe you're younger, naive, I don't know, could be any number of things, or you're just, again, I just feel like this group has a lot of love, and you've been betrayed, and so part of your pattern with this trust issue is to not really put energy into people anymore. I don't know, there could be a whole list of reasons. Whatever is the case, little tiny baby steps towards yourself and towards loving others, I think will help you. And I noticed that the moment I said loving others, I think that might be your route, because right now I feel you're so depressed that maybe right now as a crutch, try focusing on your relationships with others, and maybe try to find love outside of yourself right now if it's too hard to be able to do that on the inside. There's nothing wrong with that, and no matter what a therapist or some, self-help guru tries to sell you about the love yourself, listen, clearly there's a lot going on here, and in order for you to start trusting yourself, you're going to have to make small little decisions that will lead up to bigger decisions of self-love. And part of that means saying, hey, I deserve to hang around a person that's not negative all the time, that isn't complaining about work all the time, isn't wasting my time, isn't abandoning me or doing all these things behind my back and talking shit. Like, one day at a time. And then eventually you'll become stronger and you'll begin to attract people that are worth your time. Because sometimes good people will actively avoid you if they know that you're friends with bad people. So keep that in mind too, because I feel like some of that applies to you. And, you may think that this person could do no wrong, but what you're going to find out is when you meet people that are actually, supportive of you, you're going to realize, maybe that person wasn't actually in my corner the whole time. Well, anyways, though, Group 2, I hope that was helpful for you. If you're interested in purchasing a reading, please check out the link below for my Fiverr account. If you would like to give me a donation just to support my YouTube channel, which does not imply receiving services, you're just giving your money of your free will, there will be a link below. Anyways, take care, Group 2, and I hope to see you next time. Bye! Hello, everybody. You have chosen Group 3, which is the mouse. How this reading is going to go is first I'm going to start off with tapping into your energy to just kind of get a vibe of what's causing you to not love yourself, and then I'm going to provide solutions to help you with loving yourself a bit better. These have been kind of inconsistent, so I'm just going to cover all those topics kind of throughout the reading. So anyways, I don't know what it is about this group right off the bat, but Group 3, you guys got a lot of energy. And I feel like some of it's rage. I feel like there's like some anger in this group, but I feel like it's more than that. There's definitely you're like seeking a resolution with something before you can love yourself. I almost feel like either you feel like you cause a lot of problems, or you're like, if only I could just get this person's attention, or if only I could just do this, then maybe I'll love myself more, or maybe if I just push through this and it's going to be okay, and you're like push. Like, you're definitely a more aggressive, agitated person, or maybe not aggressive, I don't want to insult you guys, but you're definitely more energetic and more persevering than the other groups, or maybe your average person. I don't know, but I'm just feeling lots of like vigor, which in this case is working against you. So we're gonna go ahead and pull some cards. Yeah, another thing I heard too was ambition. So maybe your ambition is getting in the way of your ability to love yourself. Oh. Yep, I feel like while I'm trying to pull these cards, there's like reluctance. I feel like you guys, group 3, you're definitely a group that you do not like admitting that you're hurt. You do not like admitting that there's problems, or when it comes to trying to get your emotion, your true feelings out, it's like pulling teeth. And it's just like, do I have to be vulnerable? Like, do I have to do this? Like, I just want to go and be happy all the time. And part of you is happy all the time. I don't know what your deal is. Maybe you kind of feel like an Energizer rabbit. Man, you got a lot to say, or your guides do. I don't know, I feel like these are just messages from you to yourself. I'm going to take this as this is going to be combined as both advice and what's going on with you. Again, maybe this is the ADHD group. I don't know, because this is very like scattered, like boom, 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 boom energy. So, yeah, I also heard the word don't disassociate. I don't know if that's for me or for you guys, but I definitely think that's for you guys, because you have a tendency to be like, well, if something's not working out, boop, I'm checking out. Can't do this, nope. Because you've just got so much energy. Aww. I don't know why I did that. For some reason, I'm looking at the flowers. Like, this is a very loving group. Or like, you guys are just very passionate about yourselves, about other people. Either you love other people more than yourself. You're people pleasers. There's kind of a variety here. Maybe you're not. You know, this group maybe isn't so much a people pleaser. You're very pushy, though, and stubborn. But, like, there's so much love for you. And I feel like you do love yourself, guys. Like, you guys are very self-loving, but you're also very self-loathing at the same time. It's like self-loving and self-loathing. And I think maybe you just don't recognize how much you do love yourself. And I don't think you also recognize how much you hate yourself. Like, it's kind of like both. Because you just have such a hard time accessing emotions, because it's almost like a tumultuous, like, tornado on the inside, or there's just so much going on in your life, and I feel like you distract yourself with activities. Like, either you're going out drinking with your friends, or you're partying, or you're playing music, or you're dancing, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, and you're just like, everything you do, you go hard, and you don't really know how to be soft. or like that's not even in your vocabulary. Like, you don't slow down. Like, that's intentional. And some of you, it's because you're running, but part of it's also you don't know how to regulate emotions, or you don't have boundaries. I think boundaries is a bigger deal to you than not. And I think that's hindering you from loving yourself, is because people have told you you're bad, you know, and you're feeling like, well, if I just overcome my issues, then I'm going to be someone that other people like, and I can finally love myself and do the things I want to do. Because I feel like you're beating yourself up about not being a person that either your parents wanted, what you set an expectation for, society wants, and even though, yeah, you want to be that person too, because obviously everyone wants to be successful, but you're doing it in a way that's not successful in your own way, and with your own skills and talents. And again, if you do have ADHD or something like that, like, how you're going to find success is fundamentally different than everybody else. And so you beating yourself up is you being counterproductive and working against yourself. You know, and again, I keep focusing on, like, success, ambition, like, what do I achieve? That's how I'm going to love myself, or like, that's my entire focus. But like, you are not in the equation. Success is in the equation. Success is the end result, but you are not in that success. And that's why the success that you're chasing is not fulfilling. Because you've accomplished plenty of things in the past, but they weren't fulfilling because you weren't part of the end goal. Success was there, but you weren't there in that end goal. Right? I can feel like, so here we go. We've got the Ace of Coins, Ten of Swords, the Lovers with two ladies, and the Page of Coins. And so once again, this is all talking about materialism. Again, I feel like either you guys are wealthy, successful, you know how to, I don't know if you guys were like a rags to riches story, or you're definitely like I got where I am because I worked hard and I'm a good person and people took care of me and I did all these things and I did everything right. And I feel like, you just came towards the end of a broken cycle. I'm feeling like you've got this firebird phoenix with like swords in it. And it's almost like, I feel like someone killed your attraction to life or your vibe or something. Like, I feel like you're always pursuing money because that's the only way you can find happiness anymore. Or like, you feel like you can buy happiness, or if I buy the right therapist, or if I buy the right treatment to help me feel happy or whatever, then I'm going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, being successful is great and all, but like as I said, if you are not part of that successful equation, like, you're absent from that happiness. That's someone else's goals and that's someone else's dreams, not yours. All right? Success and happiness come as a result of you living your life the way that you want to. I mean, at least in order to love yourself. And like, again, with this Lovers, I don't know, I feel like maybe you got a secret. Maybe you're bisexual, or maybe there's some loving, something about the way you are in your sexual partnerships, or there's something that you're coming to terms with, or that's hidden from you, either subconsciously or whatever. Maybe the way you love people is taboo. Maybe there's something about the way you do things that is viewed as shameful in some cultures, but ultimately you're pushing that side of yourself away because of all that stigma. And again, your goal's on the money, because if this money's taken away, all of this will fall apart. Everything that you've been building for and everything that you're so proud of and you're so happy, like, I don't know why, but some of you, I got really anxious. And what I want you to understand is money isn't everything, because if something bad happens and all that money goes away, who's going to be taking care of you at the end of the night? Are you going to be able to live with yourself? If your partner leaves you, what else do you have? Does that partner even care about you? Because some of you, that's the reality, is that they don't. They just want that money, and they want to see you succeed. The last group was talking about people that were taking advantage of you. And I feel like this group, you have a tendency to take advantage of others and other people's vulnerabilities. And I feel like you're like, what? I don't do this. And I mean, like, I think you kind of do. But you're not aware of it. And I think it's something that it's going to come out in time. And it's because, again, you're focused on this money. You're not focused on allowing yourself to flow freely. And because of that, it's very easy of you to let go of relationships and cause problems with other people because you're unavailable. You're unavailable to yourself. And that's why you can't love yourself fully and you can't have access to that full, fulfilling self-love. Is because right now, self-love is not part of the equation. Right now, you're like, well, as I said at the beginning, there's a lot of anger. I'm here to love myself in order to be successful. And that's not your purpose. Your purpose in life is not to be successful. Being successful is a result of your purpose. And right now, you need to give yourself a second chance at life. All right? I don't care how successful you are, if you're in a relationship, not in a relationship, if you have some kind of a past or not, you need to give yourself a second chance at life. Because right now, the direction of your life is pointless. And you know this. And you've been doing this the whole time, but at the end of the day, you have to create and prove to yourself that there is a purpose to your life other than just accumulating wealth and accumulating relationships and pretending that everything's okay. This is a spiritual reading. You're watching a tarot card reading. And spirituality is what's going to ultimately give you fulfillment, but it's not just spirituality. It's something to do with how you affiliate and associate yourself towards yourself, and how you affiliate towards other relationships. Because right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this group has a lot of superficial relationships. You're hiding the fact that you don't care about the people you're hanging out with. You don't want to be around the people you're hanging out with, and you're just doing it because they provide a service or a friendship to you that is valuable to you. But at the end of the day, I'm just seeing this right here. This is you. And all those different things are the obligations that other people have put on you. And you're just waiting for someone to come in and just knock all the swords out of your back and just be like, clear house. And that's okay, because for some of you that has happened, But I want you to understand that in this scenario, back to this card, there's a little star above all that. Once all those swords are cleared away, that firebird can finally go home to the star in the place it belongs, right? Out amongst the stars. And I think that's when you're really going to be able to appreciate your hard work and really be able to appreciate what you've put forward. Again, maybe you own a business. I don't know. This is definitely an entrepreneurial, well-socialized, very loving group. You're very well loved by other people, but I feel like you don't really absorb that love too well. And I feel like you've got some enemies too. I think, again, because you've got that pushy behavior, that there's something that you've caused some problems with other people that they just don't understand you, or they called you out and you didn't like that. But you've got a lot of choices. I'm seeing that, and you're also resistant towards loving relationships. Okay, because I saw the Knight of Cups here in reverse. And okay, so I don't know why. Originally I was going to talk about with this Knight of Cups about how you don't like having relationships that are deep and meaningful, like especially sexual relationships. You just have sex with people to have sex with people. You don't actually have sex with people to really join with them. Maybe part of you wants that, but you've kind of been like, people suck, they're just bodies, or there's like a dismissive, like, well, I'll just replace this person with someone else. And that's not what you want. And again, I got interrupted because I saw this intuition card. And I'm going to read off this card. It says, you already know the answer to what you seek. Okay? And I wanted to cover that up. I feel like you are in denial of your own intuition. I feel like you self-sabotage and cause yourself to avoid your intuition, because your intuition is seeing how once that money goes away, everything around you will fall apart. And your intuition is trying to help prevent you from having everything fall apart. But, however, because you don't want to let go of this, because either this is what I'm feeling your father or a parent, caretaker, taught you that this is primarily what's important. Because, people can go away, bad things can happen, but your success and your legacy and your value is always coming down to how much can you provide for your family. Again, this is very wounded masculine energy. Because I'm feeling there's probably a father wound here in this group where it's basically there was not enough provided, and so because of that, either the value of the man is basically your masculine energy is associated with money, and that's it. There's no other benefits to the masculine, and that's really unfortunate because masculine energy has so much to offer that is more than just providing. You know what I mean? There's protection, there's paternal love, there's teaching, there's structure, there's, all kinds of stuff comes from positive masculine energy. And I think maybe reconciling with that father figure of yours will help you also with loving yourself and remembering that, his burdens are not yours to carry, and that your parents' burdens are not yours to carry as well. You don't have to take care of everyone in your friend group or your family all the time. It's a team effort, and if other people are not pitching in to the team, then that's their problem, because you only have a limited amount of energy. And if you're people-pleasing, or if you're choosing to take care of everybody and not yourself, then ultimately this Knight of Cups isn't going to come around, because you're spreading yourself too thin, and you don't want a relationship that's going to actually love you for who you are, because you're so busy making excuses of taking care of everybody else. But that's not true. Those people, if they fall apart without you, that's okay, because that's their problem. They have learned and adapted that you're going to be the one that's always going to rescue them and save them. And that's why some of them have been hurt by the fact that you have called people out, or they've tried calling you out and you don't want to listen to them, because there's this harshness to your energy where when people try to come in and show you love and affection, you scorn it, but then you're complaining about not having love and relationships in your life. It's like, well, no shit, because you're pushing away people that actually just show you love and care about you, and you're saying that has no value to me. But then you're showing value to people that only take from you. And that's a hard lesson to learn, but, it's something that you need to hear. This group, you guys are so strong, you guys have been through so much, and I'm seeing a lot of water. Hell, you got the Sun card. It's in reverse, but it's the happiest card in the deck. And you've even got Death, and it's Santa Muerte, which there's a pregnant lady. I don't know, maybe pregnancy is something, maybe having a family or creating something. Maybe you created a community, or you have some kind of a baby, a project or something that is really important to you, and you affiliate your identity with this project. But if that goes away, everything else falls apart. You know what I mean? Like you're so focused on putting your value into other things and externally rather than yourself that you can't love yourself. Now, why is that? Why is that? All right, I'm focused on the second chance, and I think a lot of it's just you just need to give yourself a second shot at life. And you gotta take some time to just let the cycle complete. I'm seeing this moth here, and I'm feeling like death, but like with moths and death, I feel like you're still not completely finished in your dying process. I feel like you're kind of like a reanimated corpse, where you're slowly starting to come back to life. But it's gonna take some time. But until the second chance thing kind of breaks out of you, you're not going to be able to fully get there, because you got to say, I got to start all this over. I got to have my tower moment. I got to regroup and say, this isn't what I want. Like, I can have my success. I can have my cake and eat it too, but I can't do it unless I get a second chance at life. And I give myself a second chance. That the version of myself in the past is no longer me right now, and no longer the person I'm going to be in the future, or the next person after that. Like, you're always going to be changing, but you got to keep saying, I'm going to give myself another shot. That if this doesn't work out, I'm going to be a new person. I'm going to keep being a new person until things work out for me. And that success will follow you the whole way. I don't care if you've got the most money in the world right now. This means nothing if you destroyed the world around you, and your world, and everything you cared about. These lovers, they're more important to you than you think. You want to say that love is not important to you. You want to say these people, these coworkers, these friends, these family members are not that important to you. But they are. And that's why you're putting energy into people that don't help you, continue to hurt you, and why you don't protect yourself and you don't create boundaries. Because as long as you have the excuse that people are hurting you, you can go ahead and hurt other people. You can pretend that you're not in love with that person. You can pretend that it's all going to work out if I just work harder, have a positive attitude, and just push forward and not feel anything. And that's false sunshine. Hate to say it, that is the advice of an emotionally unavailable person. Those are people that have just shoved all their emotions down and then pushed their burdens onto their sons, their former employees, their coworkers. I don't know, I heard something about college. I don't know what it is. But regardless, these burdens are being passed down to you, and you don't have to take it anymore. You're not unmasculated, or you're not weak, or you're not strong just because you're dealing with these burdens and you're choosing something else. It's not like the money's not going to follow. This group is very successful and determined. And the money will follow, but what you got to decide is who you're going to be, how you're going to fall back in love with life again. How are you going to fall back in love with yourself? And those women, those ladies, I keep wanting to, I was going to try men and women, but I just keep feeling this is a masculine group, or maybe you're bi or gay, I don't know, but like regardless, I think, again, this group is coming from a masculine energy wound, so you're seeking out the feminine energy. We'll use it in that terms, but regardless, like, you gotta start falling in love with those soft things, those beautiful things, and what actually turns you on to life again. That isn't something you could be bought or sold. What are those little things? What are those things that excite you? What are things about you that make you the person you want to be? I know that was a very cryptic sentence, but I think you're going to figure it out. And I think that you have the resolve and the determination to figure it out. And as I said, I think you guys already love yourself. I think it's just having that acknowledgement of loving yourself and seeing who you actually are and not what other people see. Basically, you just got to sit there and say, dang it, I'm going to be myself and I don't care who you are. So, or what you think of me. I'm going to be myself and everyone else can eat it. So anyways, guys, that's your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to purchase a reading from me, please look at the description down below. I have a link to my Fiverr account. That is where you purchase readings only. If you would like to donate money to me as a gift, tip, donation, aka you're not getting any services from me, please donate to the link down below. Anyways, though, thank you so much for taking your time, and so so much for taking the time to watch this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, you have chosen group 4, which is the snowman. And this is going to be your reading. First, I'm going to start off with tapping into your energy to kind of figure out what is blocking you from wanting to love yourself. And then we're going to go into solutions and how you can actually love yourself. Sometimes the two kind of mingle together, but I'm going to take a second to tap into your energy. And I'm not going to lie, group 4, I'm going to say right now, this group is going to be very triggering, so if you're an easily triggered person, then please do not continue to watch this, because I'm going to be very upfront on some very sensitive topics, especially in regards to mental health topics. So if you are in a position where you won't be able to handle this reading, then please come back at a time when you're in a better mentally stable position. So essentially what I'm feeling with this group is this is definitely a depression, suicide watch type group. If not that you are currently at risk, you are someone that struggles with it. Whether you have a grip on it or not, it's a continued part of your life. Maybe you have made attempts in the past, or maybe you're somebody that you're just struggling and you're trying to understand what those thoughts are. Why do I have these feelings? What do I do to try to prevent the situation? It's kind of a mixed bag of people, being perfectly honest. And I feel like with this group, I am not a mental health professional, so I highly recommend talking to a therapist in terms of working through what you're going through. And this is only going to be just guidance from spirit and stuff from my own personal experience that hopefully may provide assistance to you. But again, this is not official advice. And make sure that you are, in communication with a mental health professional to help you with this. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get into the cards to kind of describe, what's going on with these suicidal feelings. Alright, for some reason I'm hearing the word dangerous. So I don't know if maybe you guys were in a dangerous situation in the past. Maybe you feel dangerous to yourself. Or you're just feeling like you're in danger for some reason. Yeah, maybe your home life is not the best, and you're trying to escape. Maybe you have escaped and you're just having a hard time coping, or maybe, alcohol abuse is a struggle. Yeah, I'm just feeling like something is not safe. Maybe you're in an unhealthy community. Or something from your past. I don't know. There's a lot of different things going on here. No, there's nothing more else I can say. Okay, let's get right into it. Oh wow, you got the same 3 cards as the last, no, you had the same exact cards as group 2, which is kind of weird. Wow, yeah, same cards again. That's kind of strange. So maybe that's a sign that you should also watch group 2. Group 2 was about depression, so it would make sense if you were also dealing with the similar thing. So there might be additional advice in there as well. So maybe that's some of you, maybe not. Or you came from pile 2 and you also had to watch group 4. I feel like I don't know why, but for some reason, for some of you, religion played a big role in either as a savior or a perpetrator in your life. And I don't know why that came out suddenly, because I know that doesn't apply to most of you, but for some of you, I feel like, again, either you're using tarot card readings or spirituality as a way of trying to save yourself. Which is probably why you're coming to this reading and probably wondering what the heck is Christina going to say about this. because I have a lot of experience, and I feel as though you're just deflecting and pushing things down the road. What's interesting is you have the Two of Cups right next to the Hierophant, which was what I was drawn to initially. And I mean, I feel like there's just so much heartache that this group has gone through that's causing these suicidal feelings. Like it's with parents, it's with lovers, it's a variety of people, because I feel like this is just super, super general. It doesn't almost even matter why you're suicidal. It's just that what caused it is pain, and that's why you're here. You're trying to, you're kind of sitting in your own grave right now. You're kind of longing to be in the ground, but you're still trying to make a determination if you still want to be here or not. And I'm going to say from personal experience, please stay. 9 out of 10 times, people regret making these attempts, and even though some people, make multiple attempts, and that could be you, ultimately, I feel as though there's a reason why you're continuing making these attempts, and I feel like you don't want to kill yourself. You're just feeling suicidal, and you're feeling like you want to release from the pain, which that is fundamentally what causes suicidal feelings. Is it's basically you're unable to cope with the amount of emotional pain that you're going through and things that are going on in your life. You can't cope, and that is why you want to die. If you could cope, then guess what? You more than likely wouldn't want to die. 9 out of 10 times. And I'm going to focus on those 9 out of 10 times instead of getting into a debate about, all that other stuff. But I feel like there's a lot of times where you can't see the forest from the trees. There's a lot of choices you could be making right now, but it's almost like there's just too much. I feel like there's like a lot of blood in the water, or there's just a lot of like, I don't know what it is. You're kind of like in a disassociated state where you're kind of like nothing feels real, and you're just going through the motions, or you're kind of wandering this forest, kind of waiting for something to happen, kind of hoping that like, well, as long as I just keep moving forward, something's going to change, and I guess I'm not going to want to die anymore, which isn't going to be how that works, but that's at least what your current feelings are. You got the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands in reverse. I feel like there's like these two people, or two sides of yourself, where part of you is like kind of like saving in case there is a tomorrow, but then part of you is just like, oh, I'm going to do all this reckless stuff because I'm not going to live tomorrow, so why don't I do this? You keep flipping back and forth, and it's very disorienting to yourself, because you're like, well, part of me wants to die and part of me wants to live, and so I can't make a choice, and so I'm just in this perpetual state of self-sabotage and destruction. And you self-sabotage in your relationships too, which is also hurtful. Yeah, I'm looking at these Page of Wands and Six of Wands. Yeah, I feel like some of you have a hard time sleeping, and so that's kind of affecting your sleep schedule, is affecting your emotions too. I feel like a lot of you are either not taking care of yourself, or there's just kind of like you're looking for a magic wand to solve these feelings. And I hate to break it to you, that's not going to happen. Now, what I will say is there's a lot of choices and things you can't do. Like, there's definitely like this feeling that it's kind of like you're going to get through this. You don't have to be suicidal if you don't want to. And don't sit there and tell me, oh, it's a choice. I mean, like, no. I mean, it's definitely not necessarily a choice, especially if you're struggling with mental illness. However, what I will say, though, is you choose how you respond to those intrusive thoughts, and you choose how you react to these feelings. And ultimately, I think a transformation needs to happen. You've got the Lovers here in reverse, and the Chariot, and I feel like if you decide that you want to change your life around, you're ultimately going to be successful. Like, I don't have a doubt in my mind about that. The difference is that you need to choose what you want to transform into, and you have to make movement and take action on it. So, yeah, you're getting a lot of repeat cards, because we've got Intuition, Protected, Obstacles, Support, and Play Hard. So the first thing I'm going to say is you need to support yourself and surround yourself with a support system of people that actually know things about mental illness. Stop going to your friends about your issues, because there's a lot of times people have good, well-meaning advice, but they're not mental health professionals. They don't understand how to help heal you, and they don't understand all the nuances. Yeah, sure, they can make you feel great, but therapy is not just sitting and talking about your feelings. Therapy is about creating a wellness plan to help you get better, all right? It's not just sitting around and talking. And that's where I think maybe you have this association with, in order to heal myself, I just need to talk it out, and that's why I can't go to a therapist, or maybe I can't deal with my issues. Maybe some of you have been dealing with a therapist and you're still feeling these thoughts. That's okay. And I think what's happening here is you're not giving yourself grace and you're not allowing yourself to just be suicidal. I know that's kind of a scary, harsh thing to say, but I think there's a lot of relief in knowing that, hey, this is just how I feel. Stop trying to tell yourself to feel better. Stop trying to yourself that I shouldn't be feeling this way or I need to live or blah, 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 and care about everyone. Just focus on you and yourself right now. Do you actually want to do it? Majority of you are going to say no. And that's where I'm saying is you need to support yourself appropriately in understanding that this is a normal thing. Hate to break it to you, but there are a lot of suicidal people out there. A lot. Especially right now after the pandemic and everything that's going on. And so part of the issue with suicidal feelings is that you feel alone or you feel unsupported in life or you're not finding ways of coping. And the reality is there's a lot of shit in life that you can't cope with in normal ways. Some people choose booze and alcohol. Some people, choose a variety of bad habits that, guess what? They're a result of something bad that happened, okay? And maybe you have some of those vices. Maybe you don't. But the reality is that, there are ways of coping with what you went through. It's just, it may not be conventional and it may not be what you need right now. I think maybe you just need to just sit and allow yourself to be as you are and not resisting what you're feeling. I think will give you a lot of space to be able to work on the next steps of where do I go from here. Listen to your intuition. I feel like this group is more intuitive than they realize. They just don't listen. And as I said, you're going to be successful if you want to turn your life around. It's all just a matter of a choice, and a lot of times what I found with talking to suicidal people and stuff like that, it ultimately comes down to that choice. Do I want to live or do I want to die? And the reality is living is not just existing from day to day. The likelihood that I'm seeing with this group, and I mean if you came from group 2, then the likelihood is that you're already dead being alive. So you trying to kill yourself is not really going to change much. It just means that your body is going to be in the ground. But your spirit's going to still exist in the same way anyway. And I mean, I'm not going to get into talking about the afterlife and all that stuff, but the reality is that, you're already kind of dead, by how you're living your life right now. So really, instead of trying to physically put yourself on the ground, torture yourself, give yourself all these bad thoughts, try to be like, all right, well, what can I, kill in this life that's going on right now that will allow me to start living in the future? And some of that's hard, and that's why you talk to people, But just don't word it in a way that, oh, I'm going to kill myself, because I have a feeling that some of you guys have been jaded and have tried to go to people for help. People freak out and they call the cops or they do different things, and it's just a whole mess. All right, and that's where I say talk to people that have either successfully gotten out of it, people that will help you cope and understand. Don't talk to people that are not sympathetic. It's not going to help your situation. And, try a hotline, try different things. So what I'd say is get your journal out, make a list of a couple reasons why you deserve to live, what are some ways that you want to live, and then what are some things that you can get rid of that will help making living easier. Don't try to say like, well, this won't work or blah, blah, blah. Like, shut the negative voice up and say, okay, Christina said I want to focus on just these things. I don't want to sit here and listen to the bitching and moaning about whatever. Like, what are the real reasons that are actually holding you back? And then you can go and evaluate from there. Because one of the problems with trying to manage suicidal feelings is it's just being emotionally overwhelmed. If you can detach from some of that and get to the root of what is actually the true problem here, then you can start finding solutions. Right now, and what often happens is you're just caught up in a lot of feelings of, disturbing thoughts, hating yourself, all these different, there's a multitude of different reasons, and depending on what your reason is, obviously I could talk about suicide for days in different scenarios and whatnot, so, just seriously, just try to sit there and take it one day at a time and try to, separate the emotions from it. Again, you're not alone in this. Being suicidal is very common. It's especially common right now, and it's something that, you can overcome and deal with these thoughts and feelings and get your life together. You just got to make some choices and make some changes. All right, I feel like that's all I should say. There's a lot going on in this energy field, and I don't want to get into too much legal trouble either with giving you any advice or anything. So without further ado, sending you guys so much love. Please talk to somebody, contact a hotline, talk to a professional, and talk to your friends. Obviously the supporting ones, but yeah, sending you guys so much love, and thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. I wish you guys the best, and I want to let you know that at the end of the day, you know, you deserve to be here. You're loved very much. I love you, and I want to see you back for the next reading. So take care, you guys, and take care of yourselves. See you around. Hello there, Group 5. You have chosen the ball. And this is going to be your reading. Essentially how it's going to work is I'm going to start off with kind of getting a summary of your energy and get a vibe for what's actually going on that's preventing you from loving yourself, and talk about some solutions on how you can start loving yourself more. Alright, so just tapping into the energy right off the bat, Group 5, you guys are dealing with death and grief. Definitely it's like either going to be the loss of a partner, a family member, a pet, some kind of a death where you feel responsible, or there's some kind of an issue where you're having a hard time reconciling with yourself, and you just don't know how to process. I keep wanting to like hold the ball like and shelter it and hide it and being like, I wish I should have been there, I wish I could heal from this, I can't forgive myself because I can't move past what I did, or just, you know, I want to keep you nice and safe. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards to get more information on why Group 5 can't love themselves. Lots of regrets. Yeah, I feel like you guys made some mistakes in the past. You made some hard choices that didn't pan out for you. There was someone that was either interfering, something came to pass and you chose wrong. Yeah, lots of regrets here. And you wish you could take something back that you said, or there's a partner that you had to let go of, or they said something to you that you couldn't forgive or forget, or you hurt somebody. Yes or no? Alright, you guys got a lot of cards. Yeah, I feel like someone likes to talk a lot. Yeah, I just saw this true love card and I'm like, Yeah, there's some repeat cards in here too. Maybe, I have a feeling this group might be affiliated with group pile 1 too, because I'm definitely feeling there's, for some of you, take what applies, there's definitely some romantic relationship thing involved. So pile 1 might be, you know, useful, but take what resonates. Because I'm seeing like the baby rabbit, and I feel like, you know, you lost someone that was important to you, or you lost, yeah, I'm feeling like you lost a partner, a spouse, a husband, a friend, some person or something that caused, you had a lot of love for is gone, and you're having a hard time reconciling with yourself for how you treated this person, which is kind of confirmation for what I was hearing earlier, but like you're demonizing yourself way too hard. Like there's almost like this little monkey on your shoulder that you were actively like hurting yourself mentally over the situation when it really wasn't your fault. I feel like I heard the term manic depressed. Maybe there was some sort of a situation where your inner demon, maybe you were drinking and you said something wrong. Maybe there was a past situation where your mental illness got in the way, or there was some kind of something that you didn't really have control over. You thought you did, but you really didn't, and it caused you to behave in a way towards something that mattered, and it was a slip-up. But you took it way harder than it was supposed to, and things got out of control. Or maybe there was someone that didn't see you right, and their demons were attacking you the whole time. And because of that person's inner demons, you internalized that when really it was them projecting themselves and their self-hatred onto you. take what resonates, but I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand because I feel like you're taking on just stuff that does not belong to you. And I want you to do this for you guys, group 5, is honestly, I want you to like take your hands in front of your chest, and I want you to take a deep breath, and as you breathe, I want you to imagine in your hands all that air that you just took in. So just, and then after you take it in, just blow, like toss it away from you. Just, and do that a couple times. Alright, after you've done that a couple times, I hope you feel better because honestly, you need to release this stuff that doesn't belong to you because it's holding you back, and I feel like it's been completely unnecessary that you've been taking any of this on. There's so much family shame and stuff in here that doesn't belong to you and it's not yours. Now you need to take ownership of what is yours, but there's so much of this inner demon stuff that it's got nothing to do with you. And your behavior is as a result of someone else's shame and hatred towards themselves that you took on. And once you stop hating yourself, you're not going to be behaving that way anymore. It's almost going to be like night and day. And you need to be tender towards yourselves. Because I feel like this person that you lost, it wasn't always meant to last. They weren't always meant to be there, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean that you're not innocent in the situation as well. Especially if you're a victim of your own mental illness. Like sometimes, you know, in life, there are times when other people are not able to support you in the way that you need to. And that does not mean that person's bad, and it doesn't mean you're bad. It just means that they're not able to support you. That's it. There's no wrong or right. It hurts, but it's okay, you know? And I'm hoping that at some point you get to a point where you heal and you understand that, but right now I don't think you're at that spot. You know, you're beating yourself up, being like, I'm a burden, I'm unworthy of love and stuff, and it's like, you're just hurting, sweetheart. Like, I just feel the need to say that, like, you're just hurting, sweetheart, that's it. You know, and things could have been worse, but I feel like your guides are trying to protect you a little bit from the reality of how harsh you're treating yourself. Because I think if you understood that really you don't deserve this inner talk and that a lot of it's just you perpetuating someone else's shit, you're going to realize you lost a lot of time. Something about this King of Swords, it's part of your issue is you're in your head a lot. You're putting way too much focus on your thoughts and your mind is, you've got that monkey mind. And your mind is playing games with you, and it's half of that stuff, it's not your fault, you know? Maybe you've got faulty wiring in your brain if it's a mental illness, but like, I shouldn't say faulty wiring, I'm going to cut that. Maybe you've got some issues going on in your brain, again, if it's a mental illness. However, I'm really feeling it's just other people's projections that you've internalized as your own. And when you clear those out, you're going to be fine. And I think one thing I highly recommend is getting out of your head. Go for walks. Get out of your apartment. Like, you're spending too much time alone. You're spending too much time in your head. You're not expressing your feelings. You need to speak up and say things. I'm definitely seeing with like this blue energy, you need to be clearing out your throat chakra. Start speaking out loud your truth, even if it's by yourself in your apartment. Start saying and verbalizing how you feel. Because if you're not verbalizing how you feel, then I feel like you've never learned to be able to do that. That will help you. I don't know why. I suddenly saw something and I'm like, I'm not gonna comment on it. But yeah, maybe, share your feelings with a friend or a partner. I feel like you're someone who you keep your thoughts trapped inside of you for way too long, and that's what creates this monkey mind. And now, granted, I feel like you've hurt somebody in the past with the things you've said, and you gotta watch out for that, because ultimately, humans are humans, and not everyone has a place to support you. However, I think that where you're talking to people, you need to find a safe place to vent to, and then you can have your friendships outside of that. You know, like, determine where are your safe places that you can share your traumas with, and then for everybody else, you know, just don't share your traumas with them, because it's too much, you know, and those people, it's putting a burden on them, and it's putting a burden on you, because it's talking about it's not helping you, and then it's just hurting your relationships with other people. So really, you should be talking about this with either a therapist, trained professional, journaling, maybe record videos of yourself. I know for me, these tarot card readings have been amazing, just hearing my own voice talking about stuff. So maybe that's something you could do for you, is literally just record videos of yourself for yourself and just listen to yourself talk about your feelings. That could be helpful for you. But whatever the case is, get it out of you. Do not let things stay in your head, because you're just creating problems when there are none. And then you're just creating more problems. And I think you should forgive yourself. This group definitely needs to work on the self-forgiveness, because it's almost like you're hating yourself for stuff you didn't even do. It's not necessary. Yeah, just keep working on forgiving yourself and saying that, it's okay to make mistakes. Maybe you're someone who you weren't ever raised right and you didn't learn boundaries growing up. Or maybe you did some things that, you did out of spite and anger, and then now you're like, well, that wasn't a good thing to do. Okay, so just let it go. Just let it freaking go. You've been holding on to this way too long, and it's only, if anything, your self-hatred is creating more problems than the initial thing ever did. No one is thinking about that thing you did 5 years ago. No one cares about this small little thing you said or did. You know what I'm talking about. And give yourself the grace to just let it go. You keep making exceptions because you just want to... Again, I feel like there's a romanticism of hating yourself. And you need to stop romanticizing that, because you're a great person. And a lot of this is just other people's shit. You just gotta let it go. Interesting enough, so the other two cards you got here are finances and true love. True love I'm going to focus on is, I feel like you need to experience true love for somebody else. Actually love somebody for what they are and not what you want them to believe. I feel like, again, because this group is in their head, they have a tendency to over-romanticize other people. Not just romantic partners, but also friends, colleagues, whatever. You see someone on social media and you're like, oh man, they're always perfect. And the reality is no. They're not perfect. They do not have the perfect body. A lot of that stuff's photoshopped. A lot of it's fake. And for true love, you should be able to see another human being and love them for all their flaws and, their good qualities, and just see them as who they are. And just be okay. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, the greatest thing ever. They don't have to be the worst thing ever. They can just be themselves, and you can just love them. Like that, There's a lot of hot and cold and polar energy, and I feel like you guys really need to just be grounded and brought back to earth a little bit to focus on, that true love that you're looking for is not absence of, it's not perfection, it's not absence of flaws, it's not like they don't have their own demons too. You're just over-exaggerating yours because you're not participating in life fully. You're just kind of lightly touching things. And I think maybe part of it could be, I don't know if you guys are aware, maybe you're intuitive, maybe you're very sensitive, maybe you have a disability, maybe you have da-da-da-da-da. Have you ever explored those things? Regardless of what the case is, there's a lot of polar, unlogical thinking here that's preventing you and distorting you from having relationships with other people. And I keep seeing the Fool here is in reverse, but this person's topsy-turvy, curled up in a ball, and it's almost like you just immediately turn into a victim, and you're just whoop. You just hide yourself. It's oh, I got hurt. It's I want to touch the fire. Nope. And you're doing that to yourself when really it's just don't touch the flame. I'm not focused while I'm doing my reading on the flame. And so again, it's kind of like that. Well, I can't focus on what's going on right now, so I'm going to try it and touch the candle so I can burn my finger. And if I do burn the finger, oh no, woe is me, I'm so terrible, blah blah blah, because I tried to touch it. It's just stop focusing on the candle and do what you're supposed to do. Now again, that could imply that there's a mental illness going on here that may be preventing you from living a normal life, and in which case, I'm sorry, that's a struggle, but some of it you're also perpetuating yourself too. And I think you should take some time to distinguish what you can do to help better your mental health state so that way you don't have this constant polar rejection of yourself. Yeah, I'm seeing the Hermit in reverse, and you're by yourself way too much. You need to go outside, get some friends, start caring about yourself more, and not just stop drinking so much and stop being such a recluse. I don't know, that's what I'm kind of feeling. Queen of Wands, yeah, I feel like there's a cat calling, or there's I'm feeling like it's that woman that likes to sit there and constantly nag you about what you're doing. not to be stereotypical, but it feels like it's like that mother that is always like, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right. And it's like they're constantly talking. You're like, holy cow, shut up. Like, that is your brain right now. And that's why you're having a hard time loving yourself, is because you're listening to this person that is not contributing anything. They're not giving you answers, they're just talking. And because you're continuing to listen to them, that's why they're having so much space in your head. You know, and right now you're resisting creating new seeds and starting a new life, you know, because you're too busy listening to this negative voice that's crippling you. You know, maybe this is a reflection of a parent. Maybe you had someone that was constantly controlling you and trying to pull your strings, and just cut the cords, man. Cut them. Yeah, I feel like you need to kind of maybe go out and travel or take a journey. Something kind of needs to change in your routine where you need to go and do something spontaneous. You know, and I think that kind of scares you because, again, I feel like you have a hard time, like, looking at yourself in the mirror, having a hard time dealing with people. Again, maybe you guys do struggle with some kind of a disability where being around people is hard. But regardless, you know, you're only hurting yourself by holding yourself back. You know, and just understand and accept that you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Most people, when you make a mistake, you're only human. You forgive yourself and you move forward, you know, and that's easier said than done, but keep continuing to tell yourself that it's okay if I made a mistake. It's okay. You know, give yourself a little hug your cat, you know, or ask another person to reassure you too. You know, I think maybe having a good friend that can validate you and say, like, if you're like, oh my God, I said this thing to this person I have a crush on, and oh my God, I think they hate me, and talk to a friend about it, and they can be like, no, you're fine, don't overthink it, you know, just get the, you know, you can't read books about how life should be, you know, like, books are written by people that have gone out and lived that life. However, at the end of the day, the only way you're going to learn how life works is if you do something, you know? You can't learn life through books, you got to go out and experience it, and unfortunately that means getting hurt every time, and as long as you're working on yourself, it's going to be fine, you know? Find yourself a trustworthy friend and, you know, journey together, you know, those lone introverts out in the world just trying to make their way out. I don't know. And anyways, guys, that's all I have for you. If you're interested in purchasing a reading, please look at the description down below. If you would like to donate to my channel, which means you are not receiving services, there will also be a link in the description below. Other than that, thank you so much for supporting my YouTube channel, and I will see you guys next time. Peace and love. Bye.